Have you ever finished a meal and felt like you went just a bit too far? That heavy, uncomfortable feeling that lingers in your chest? It wasn't always this way for me. I grew up in Okinawa, where we were taught something very simple but powerful. Hara, Hachi. It means eat until you are 80% full, not stuffed, just satisfied. Now that I'm in my 80s, I see clearly how this gentle practice shaped my health. I still walk each morning. My joints don't ache as much. I breathe easier. And I've never gone on a strict diet, not once. Just this one habit. Today, I'd like to share it with you, especially if you're over 60 and feeling that your body doesn't bounce back like it used to. Before we begin, I'd love to know, where are you watching this from, and what time is it for you right now? Please let me know in the comments below. I truly look forward to reading them. And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss what's coming next. I learned Hara Hachi from my grandmother. I still remember the sound of her footsteps, soft, unhurried. My grandmother would rise at sunrise, open the shoji doors, and begin her morning with a bow to the sun. She had silver hair tied in a low bun, hands wrinkled but strong. She rarely raised her voice, but when she spoke, especially during meals, we listened. It was from her that I first heard the words Hara Hachi. She said them gently, like a prayer. Before every meal, remember Hara Hachi. Stop eating when your stomach is 80% full. I was a child, so I didn't understand why. But I copied her, watching how she served herself, smaller portions chewed slowly, and put her chopsticks down often to breathe. She lived to be 97, and until her final days, she never needed a cane. Her mind stayed clear, her steps steady. Hara Hachi isn't a diet. It's not a rule you follow to lose weight. It's a mindset, a way of honoring your body's quiet signals before they get drowned out by habit or desire. In Okinawa, we didn't count calories. We didn't measure grams of protein. We simply ate until we were almost full. Then we stopped. The phrase itself comes from ancient Confucian teachings brought into daily Japanese life over generations. Hara means stomach. Hachi is 8. Means part. 8 parts full. Some people think stopping at 80% means going hungry. It doesn't. It means leaving space. Space for digestion. Space for breath. Space for gratitude. And science is beginning to catch up with what our elders intuitively knew. Researchers now say that calorie moderation, especially in older adults, may reduce inflammation support, better metabolism, and even promote longer life. But for us, it was never about science. It was about balance. Compare that to what I see in the modern world. Plates are bigger. Meals are rushed. Seconds and thirds are automatic, not intentional. In the United States, for example, the average portion size has grown dramatically over the past few decades, sometimes double what it used to be. Meals are eaten quickly, often while distracted by screens. Fullness is mistaken for satisfaction. But true satisfaction, at least how I understand it, comes from eating, slowly stopping just before the line, and walking away from the table feeling light, not heavy. Nourished, not stuffed. It's a practice. It takes time. Even I forgot it sometimes. But the body remembers. It whispers before it shouts. And if you can catch that whisper, that's enough. You'll be surprised how much better you feel. My grandmother didn't have a nutritionist. She didn't track her macros. But every time she stopped at 80%, she was telling her body, I trust you. I respect you. I won't give you more than you need. Now, as I walk that same path in my later years, I hear her voice again. And I pass her words on to you, not as advice, but as an invitation. Try it, just once. Pause before your next bite. Listen in. See what happens. You might find what I found: a little more room in your stomach and a little more peace in your day. Why eating to 80% full helps maintain muscle after 60. When I was a boy, I thought muscles came from strength, lifting, working, running. And yes, those things matter. But now in my 80s, I've learned that real strength, the kind that lasts, is built in quiet places, at the dinner table, in small, steady habits, like Hara, Hachi. After 60-something changes in the body, the muscles that once responded quickly begin to fade faster. Even if you stay active, your body naturally loses lean mass. Doctors call this sarcopenia, but in Okinawa, we rarely use that word. We simply noticed who could still carry buckets of water without effort and who couldn't. Most people think building or keeping muscle means eating more. But here's the truth, eating smarter, not more, is what protects you after 60. And that's where Hara Hachi comes in. When you eat until you're 80% full, your body doesn't get overwhelmed. It doesn't store the extra calories as fat. Instead, it becomes more efficient processing what it's given, using nutrients wisely, and avoiding stress on the organs. In the West, I've noticed a different pattern. Meals are large, protein is heavy, and the focus is on quantity. Americans are told to bulk up with large portions of meat shakes and supplements. But often this leads to the opposite of strength. It causes inflammation, insulin resistance, and fat buildup around the organs, all of which make it harder for the body to preserve muscle. Too much food, especially rich, fast-digesting food, can trigger spikes in insulin and promote fat storage instead of muscle repair. The body gets busy digesting excess instead of maintaining what truly matters. But in Okinawa, our meals were humble. A bowl of miso soup, steamed vegetables, a small piece of fish, fermented soybeans, and always just enough, not too much. Protein came in smaller portions, but was eaten consistently and paired with plants that supported digestion and healing. And something else we moved after eating: a gentle walk, washing dishes by hand, tending to the garden. That post-meal movement helps direct nutrients into the muscles instead of letting them sit in the belly. Science now supports what our bodies already knew. Studies show that moderate calorie intake combined with steady protein and light movement can preserve muscle mass even in older adults. Muscle doesn't disappear because of age, it fades when it's unused, and when it's buried under too much food the body can't use. Hara Hachi gives your body just enough to work well without the burden of excess. And in that steady rhythm, your muscles stay ready. You feel lighter, more mobile. You rise from a chair without effort. You walk with more balance. You sleep deeper. People often ask me, "But aren't you hungry?" Not really. Hunger isn't just in the stomach. It's in the mind. And when you eat, slowly, breathe between bites, and stop at just enough, you begin to notice you don't need more to feel satisfied. So if you're over 60 and worried about losing strength, don't rush to eat more. Instead, slow down. Eat with attention. Stop before you're full. Then move. That's the Okinawan way. And it may just be the simplest strength training you'll ever do. How to practice. Hara Hachi. Daily. Step by step. When I first moved away from Okinawa, I thought I could bring Hara Hachi with me easily. But I quickly realized it's not just a habit, it's a way of thinking. And in places where meals are rushed, portions are big, and silence at the table feels strange, it takes a little more effort to live that way. But it's possible. And for you, wherever you are, it can begin today. The first step is simple. Serve yourself less than usual. If you normally fill your plate, try leaving a little space. Not because you're restricting yourself, but because you're giving your body time to catch up with your mind. Next, eat slowly, truly slowly. Chew with awareness. Put your fork or chopsticks down between bites. I still do this. Sometimes I even close my eyes for a moment just to taste what I'm eating. It sounds strange, but when you do this, you realize you don't need as much as you think. Most of us don't overeat because we're hungry. We overeat because we're distracted. That's why another step is this: turn off distractions during meals. No TV, no phone, just you and your food. Maybe someone you love beside you. Maybe even a little quiet music. Make eating a moment of peace, not a background task. And here's an important part: pause halfway through your meal. Just pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, do I still feel hungry or am I satisfied? If the answer is, I could stop now, then stop. That's your 80%. It's not about being exact. It's about learning to listen. At first, you might still feel the urge to keep eating. That's okay. You're retraining your body. You're teaching yourself a new language, the quiet language of enough. Some people in America might say, but I was raised to finish everything on my plate. So was I. But my grandmother would say, better to waste a few grains of rice than to waste your health. That always stayed with me. You can also adjust your environment. Use smaller plates and bowls. In Okinawa, our dishes were never large. A little rice, a small bowl of soup, a few vegetables. It wasn't just tradition, it helped us eat less without feeling like we were missing anything. Include variety, but in moderation. A little of this, a little of that. It keeps meals interesting without going overboard. For protein, we used tofu fish, or a small piece of pork, not a giant steak. For flavor, we used fermented foods like miso, which support digestion. And most importantly, move after you eat. Don't go lie down. Walk around the house. Water the plants. Sweep the porch. Light movement after meals helps your body process food and directs nutrients to your muscles instead of fat storage. The magic of Hara Hachi Bu isn't in perfection, it's in consistency. Every meal is a chance to practice. Some days you'll eat too much. Some days you'll stop just right. That's okay. What matters is that you stay gentle with yourself. Because over time, this small shift, this 20% less, can lead to more energy, better digestion, healthier weight, and stronger muscles as you age. I'm 84 now. I still cook most of my own meals. I still stop before I'm full. And I still feel light in my body and in my heart. Maybe today you can begin too. Just one meal, just one pause, just one quiet act of respect for your future self. Important notes and when to be cautious with Hara Hachi. Bu Hara Hachi Bu is gentle, but like all things, it's not one size fits all. I want to say this clearly: if you're already underweight, recovering from illness, or managing conditions that require a specific diet, please talk to your doctor before making changes. In Okinawa, this practice worked well because our meals were still rich in nutrients even if small in portion. The quality of food matters just as much as the quantity. Stopping at 80% doesn't mean starving yourself. It doesn't mean skipping meals or feeling weak. It means trusting that your body knows what enough feels like, and that feeling changes. On colder days, you may need more. After a walk, you may need extra nourishment. Listen gently. Another thing to remember: this is not a competition, not something to perfect. When I was younger, I sometimes went too far, thinking less was always better. But my grandmother reminded me, too much restriction becomes another kind of excess. Especially after 60, your body needs steady, nourishing fuel to protect muscle, bone, and brain. So if you try Hara Hachi Bu, do it with care. Focus on nutrient-dense foods, colorful vegetables, good proteins, healthy fats. Even a small plate can be full of life. And finally, let go of guilt. If you overeat one day, it's not a failure, it's human. You just try again next time with a little more awareness. This is not a diet, It's a lifelong relationship with your body. Remember, your health is your own, and what works for one person may not be right for another. So start small, observe gently, and if anything doesn't feel right, pause. Seek guidance. You deserve to feel well, not just lighter, but stronger, calmer, and more connected to yourself. How Hara Hachi Bu supports digestion and reduces inflammation after 60. When I was in my 60s, I began to notice something different after meals. Foods I used to enjoy without issue suddenly left me feeling bloated, tired, or uncomfortable. A simple bowl of noodles felt too heavy. Even rice, my lifelong companion, began sitting in my stomach like a stone. It wasn't the food that had changed, it was me. My digestion had slowed just like the rest of my body. This is when I began to practice Hara Hachi Bu more mindfully, not just as a cultural tradition, but as a true support for my aging body. You see, as we grow older, our stomach produces less acid, and digestion doesn't work as quickly or efficiently. The gut lining becomes more sensitive. Our bodies need more time and more care to process even familiar meals. When we eat until we are completely full or beyond, we put unnecessary stress on our digestive system. The stomach stretches, the intestines work harder, and we often feel the consequences: gas, bloating, acid reflux, sluggishness. But when we stop at 80%, everything changes. The body isn't overwhelmed. The digestive process flows more smoothly. Nutrients are absorbed better, and food passes through gently. I noticed this myself. After smaller, slower meals, I no longer needed to lie down or reach for ginger tea to settle my stomach. I felt light, calm, even energized. What I didn't know then, but science explains now, is that overloading the digestive system can lead to chronic inflammation. And inflammation is not just a word in medical books. It's the hidden fire behind many of the challenges we face in older age: joint pain, heart disease, fatigue, brain fog, and even mood swings. Every time we overeat, especially highly processed or heavy meals, our bodies respond with an inflammatory reaction. Our cells struggle to manage the excess. But when we eat just enough, when we practice Hara Hachi Bu, we lower that fire. We give our organs space to work and time to rest. This is especially important in America, where I've seen portion sizes 3 times what we had in Okinawa. Meals are eaten quickly on the go, often with sugary drinks or heavy sauces. Many elders suffer not from lack of food, but from too much, too fast, too often. So here is my gentle advice. Try eating until you're no longer hungry, not until you're full. Chew slowly. Pause during the meal. Take a breath. Notice how your body feels. Let that guide you. Even if you change nothing else, no new supplements, no strict diets. This one shift can reduce the burden on your digestive system. It can calm inflammation. It can help your body feel younger just by letting it work the way it was meant to. Eating is not a race. It is a quiet conversation between you and your body. And sometimes the most healing thing you can say is, "That's enough for now." The emotional and spiritual peace of stopping before full. When I think of Hara Hachi Bu, I don't just think of food, I think of peace. It's a quiet peace that enters the room when the meal ends, not with the clinking of empty plates or the heaviness of overeating, but with a sense of balance. A sense that I've taken only what I needed and left the rest gratefully. In my childhood, home meals were sacred. My grandmother would lay the food with care. Even if we only had miso soup, pickled radish, and a bowl of rice, we treated each bite as a blessing. There was no rush, no guilt, and no pressure to eat beyond fullness. We knew instinctively too much, even of a good thing, could disturb the heart. As I aged, I began to understand what my grandmother meant when she said, "The body is satisfied before the mind is." So many of us eat to comfort emotions, loneliness, stress, boredom. I've done this too. On cold nights when the house felt too quiet, I've gone back for seconds, not because I was hungry, but because I missed the sound of family. But Hara Hachi taught me something profound. Contentment isn't in the next bite, it's in the pause. The pause where you check in with yourself and gently ask, am I still hungry or just seeking something else? This awareness has brought me a kind of emotional healing. I don't punish myself for eating. I don't judge myself for feeling lonely. I just try to be present with the food, with the moment, with myself. There's also a spiritual layer. In Japanese culture, we have a word itadakimasu. We say it before every meal. It means I humbly receive. It's not just about thanking the cook. It's about honoring the life that made this meal possible, the farmer, the rain, the soil, the fish, the plant. When you see food as a gift, it becomes easier to eat with respect, and part of that respect is knowing when to stop. I've seen in many places, especially in the West, where food is consumed mindlessly. People eat while watching TV, walking, or scrolling on their phones. And when meals are rushed or distracted, the spirit of eating is lost. You may be full, but you aren't truly nourished. Hara Hachi, when practiced with presence, becomes a kind of meditation. A daily practice of patience, of listening, of letting go. And every time you stop before full, it's like a small bow to your own life. A way of saying, I'm here, I have enough, I am enough. So yes, it helps the body. It helps digestion and weight and strength. But more than that, it helps the heart. It helps us feel grounded again in a world that constantly asks for more. And in this quiet discipline, this act of enough, you may find a deeper joy, a clearer mind, and a peace that lingers long after the last bite. Maybe the greatest wisdom I've carried through these 8 decades is this: life feels better when you live just below full. Hara Hachi isn't a diet, a trend, or a rule book. It's a quiet invitation to treat your body with patience, to eat with care, and to step away from the table with lightness, not just in your belly, but in your spirit. If you're over 60 and you've been struggling with digestion, weight gain, muscle loss, or even emotional eating, I hope this message finds you gently. I hope it gives you one small thing to try, not because you must, but because you deserve to feel better. This practice doesn't require special foods, expensive supplements, or strict plans. It simply asks you to listen, to slow down, to notice the moment when you're satisfied and to honor that moment. Start with one meal. Take a breath. Chew slowly. Ask yourself, do I need more? And if the answer is no place, your hands in your lap, smile and say, that's enough for now. I promise you, small changes practiced daily can transform the way you age, and I'd love to hear from you. If you try Hara Hachi this week, let me know how you feel. What changed? What surprised you? Thank you for spending this time with me, and remember, your journey is your own. Walk it gently with love. Disclaimer: health information shared in this video is not a substitute for professional medical advice. Always consult your doctor or healthcare provider before making changes to your diet or lifestyle. If you believe you are experiencing a medical emergency, contact emergency services immediately.